So good morning and welcome to this week's Breakfast with Mike. And this week, I'm going to share 4 tips with you on how you can put more together, make more money, okay, and do it in less time. And it's a real simple process that I want you to start following. Now, please understand that just like any process that you could come up with, before we start the process, there has to be a little bit of setup. In other words, it's not going to work if the client really doesn't want to buy a house. So it's kind of important that before you decide to go show them homes and find things that they're going to put under agreement, that you know certain things about them, like why are they buying? Why did they pick now to buy a house? Have they talked to your lender? Do we know that the price range that you're showing them is one at which they can afford? Do they have a problem? Now, I know for a lot of people, that's a tough one, okay? Because having buyers that really do have a problem is going to make finding them a house simpler for you, because now it's a matter of solve the problem. You know, they live in a 2-bedroom, they got 6 kids. Okay, they need more bedrooms. That's a problem. Let's get them out there and find something for them. So there are certain things that we need to make sure are in place so that when we start doing these things, these 4 little steps, that you'll kind of see this whole picture come together. So if you're wondering what to ask them or how, shoot me an email later, just mike@mikefiddler.com. I'll send you a questionnaire that you should be asking all your buyers before you start working with them. And it all leads to, if they kind of pass your test, then you'll sign a buyer broker agreement with them. And now we're ready to go look at houses. And when I say look at houses, I don't mean look the way most people do. And that's really going to be step 1. Step 1 is making sure they're ready to buy a house. Well, how do you figure out whether or not they're ready to buy? You know, I remember many years ago, Floyd taught me a really simple tip. He said, before you start showing them, when you call them to confirm that, we're going to look at houses today, ask them, do you have your checkbook? And the funny part about that is, it's amazing. Some people will go, why? Well, because we're going to go buy a house. Well, not today. Well, then why am I going? You see what I'm saying? Why am I showing them? Well, they're just trying to get ready. Then no. That's not how this works. Well, I'm just looking. Really? Okay. If you want to waste your time with somebody like that, go ahead. I've been teaching people for a long time to rate everybody you're working with on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being really don't need to do anything. It's kind of like that FSBO that comes on every year and raises the price 20%. They're never going to sell. They just want the attention. How many buyers have you ever worked? And don't raise your hands on this, but how many times have you worked with a buyer 3 months, 6 months, a year? Every once in a while, I'll talk to somebody and they'll tell me about this buyer that they're working, and I'll ask them how long. Well, I've been working with them on and off now for a couple of years. What? Couple of years? What's changed in a couple of years? Heck, the market changes every couple of months, let alone every couple of years. So Floyd said, ask them if they've got their checkbook. You'll find out whether their mindset is, I'm going to go find a house today, or if I'm just window shopping. And folks, I'm not a tour guide. I'm sorry, I'm not a tour guide. I sell homes. That's what I do. I put people into homes that they want to buy. I help people sell the homes that they want to sell. I am not a tour guide, and you shouldn't be either. You should not be a tour guide. And if you're finding that you're a tour guide too many times, no wonder you're not making any money. So number one, ask them if they're bringing their checkbook. I had somebody the other day say, "Oh, I could never ask that." Well, why not? What's more important than knowing that they're going to buy a house? What a waste of time to, do you have your checkbook? No. Why? Well, we're going to buy a house. Well, not today. Okay, let's go. What's the point of that? Makes no sense at all. Step two, while you're showing the homes, point out the things that they already told you they're looking for in a house. Remember, if they've got a problem, your job is to help solve the problem. In many cases, they're looking for certain things to be in the house, whether it's a number of bedrooms or a number of baths, or having the opportunity for a work office, or maybe it's the garage, or it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that's important to them, you should point those things out as you walk around. See, what I find, and it's going to sound funny, please, I don't think anybody on this call would ever do that, but I've seen agents where they turn around, they walk in the house and they go, "This is the kitchen." Excuse me? I have never once, in more than 30 years of this business, I have never once turned around, had a buyer turn around and say, "Is this the kitchen?" I'm pretty sure they can figure that out. You do not need to tell them. This is the kitchen. This is the master bedroom. Oh my God. You don't think they can figure these things out? If that's your best line? How about instead of that, point out the things that they told you they're looking for in the house? Remember when you told me you needed this? Yeah, this has got it. And I'm going to keep adding those things up. Now, along with that comes point number three. And point number three is probably one of the most important things, and that is keep reminding them of the things that are going to help solve their problem. I want them predisposed. If this house meets their needs, I want them predisposed to walk out and say to me, "Yeah, this is the one." That's what I want. Doesn't always happen that way, but that is what I want. Your job is to help them solve their problem. And if you're not doing that, you're a tour guide. And I got news for you. With all the changes that are going on with the real estate market these days, tour guides are going to be out of the business really soon. They just are. Because buyers are going to expect more. See, I don't think buyers have ever had to expect more from us. Why? Because they didn't have to pay us. Or at least they didn't think they were paying us. I mean, they were. It was built into their mortgage. Our fee was built into their mortgage. But they didn't think they were paying us. So they didn't have any high expectations of us. Now that's going to change. Now they're going to start asking that question. Why should I pay you? And why should I pay you that much? Because all the stuff that they're Googling right now are saying, hey, these guys are worth maybe $500 or $1,000. That's all they're worth. There's no way they're worth 3% or 2% or whatever it is you charge. I don't care what you charge. That's up to you. Whatever you charge tells me what your standard is. The lower it is, the less your standard. It's that simple. You don't walk into a Bentley dealer and start trying to negotiate price. They're going to laugh you right out. So, number one, prepare. Ask them. Got your checkbook, right? Yeah. Okay. Number two, point out the things that they told you they're looking for in the house. Number three, point out the things that help solve their problem, whatever that is. Well, Mike, I don't know what their problem is. That's because you didn't ask. Before you ever show anybody a house, you should have a consultation with them that talks about what their likes are, what their needs are, when do they need to be in the house. The problem might be simply a matter of, I need to be in the house by the end of November. That might be the problem. All of a sudden, you're showing them the house, all these things that they said they wanted are in the house, and you can say to them, listen, I also found out through the listing agent, these guys can close in six weeks, which means we can get you in by the end of November. Solves their problem. Is every house going to be able to do that? No. There are going to be some sellers that'll say, no, especially now, you're going to hear this now. You're going to hear some sellers that are going to say, we need to wait until after the holidays. We don't want to move until after the holidays. You're going to hear that. What if your buyer needs to be in the house by the end of November? We can't put this together? Or maybe we can put it together, but that becomes the problem. How do we help solve it? And number 4, well, I'll tell you what, this is going to sound too simple, but most people don't do it. Ask them to buy the house. It's amazing to me when I talk to agents that they don't do that. Sometimes they'll say, what do you think? But they don't ask them to buy the house. Now, if they've been giving you signals along the way that you point out, hey, this has got what you've been asking for, what you wanted, and it helps solve their problem. A lot of times when you walk out the door, they'll say it. Yeah, this is it. What's the next step? Well, we write an offer. In some states, we go to contract. In other states, we use an offer sheet, but whatever it is, there it is. Whatever that next step is in your state, that's where we're doing. Okay, well, let's go back to the office and write it up. Well, what happens if they turn around and tell you they don't have a lot of time? I have written up so many offers on the hood of my car. I'll tell you right now. And if you're not prepared to write the offer on the hood of your car, then you're not doing your job. Well, geez, I didn't think they were going to buy today. Oh my God, are you kidding me? What are you doing? Why are you showing them the house if you weren't ready to buy something? Too many agents are tour guides. You know, it reminds me of what was it? What was that TV show? Price is Right, and and now over here we got this, and that's what you're doing. Come on, stop it. Well, Mike, if they go into agreement, I don't have anybody else. Well, then go solve that problem. Many agents will keep working with people simply because they don't have somebody else and they don't want to be out of business. But if you're working with people who aren't ready to buy, you are just fooling yourself. You don't have to worry about you being out of business. You will be out of business soon, because today's buyers are going to start asking more and more, what makes you worth it? And if you don't know the answer to that, they'll find somebody who does. So 4 steps that will help you to close more deals and do it in less time. Number 1, be prepared. Ask them. Got your checkbook, right? Oh, good. Number 2, point out the things that were on their list of the things they wanted in the house. Number 3, point out why this house solves their problem. And number 4, start asking them every single house you walk out of. So, you want to buy this one? By the way, I've got a follow-up to that. You want to buy this one? And they say, it's kind of a little bit expensive. Don't just buy that. Follow it up. At what price do you think you could make this work? Ask them, at what price do you think this might work for you? Because here's something I learned many, many years ago as a listing agent. An offer is better than no offer. Learned that one from Floyd too. An offer is better than no offer. If I get them to write an offer, even if it's low, I know you're thinking, well, in today's market, it'll never get accepted. But you know what? Every week I talk to students that tell me that they got something together that they didn't think they were going to get together. If the need is there, all of a sudden the need is there on that seller's part, they may turn around and say, boy, I ain't going to like it, but I can make our plans work. Let's make this, how about we do this? And they come back with a counter, and that counter is something that works for your buyer. It would have never worked if you just heard them say, well, this is a little overpriced, and you go, well, let's go look at the next one. No, get them to buy that one. Well, what if the next one, Mike, would stop it? You're not a tour guide. Your job is to find them a home that meets their needs, solves their problem, and can be done in the time frame that they're looking for. That's your job. I hope this makes sense to you. Those are 4 tips that can make you a lot more money and do it in a lot less time. I'm going to turn the recording off and let these guys throw some questions at me. You know, I've heard it before. I've said it before. I wish you were here. Maybe next time. Anyway, bye for now.